UFC fight 16, I believe, for you. Big one up here, pay-per-view main card. Just how are you kind of feeling going into this week?
I feel great. I think they picked a really good fight to open up the main card and, get the party started. I think me and Mark have similar styles. I think we'll both meet in the middle and, let them hands ride.
Is he a guy that you figured one day you'd cross paths with in this division?
Man, he's been calling me out since before he was even in the UFC. So, I think, I knew it was inevitable we'd meet each other.
Does that make it a little, I don't know, personal? Like when someone's calling you out for years on years, what do you think about that?
It doesn't matter to me. I'm going to fight somebody. I think it makes it more enticing for the fans to watch when, somebody says, I want to fight this guy over and over and over again. So, he's just going to have to remember after I beat him on Saturday that he asked for that.
He's not really far from this part of Canada, but suspect that the crowd will be behind him. What do you think the environment's going to be like on Saturday, and do you relish maybe being in hostile territory?
I really wouldn't call Canada hostile territory, dude. I fought in Brazil. That's a hostile territory. I fought in Toronto. I fought Theodoro in Toronto, and, they were super friendly. I don't really remember getting booed or, them telling me I was going to die. So, this is, it's just another fight for me.
Do you feel like you're pretty locked into middleweight now at this point, or is there still some opportunity to bounce back up again?
I get in where I fit in, but, I really like middleweight. I've done, really try to, like, shrink my size so, like, the weight cuts aren't so hard, running a lot and things like that. Now, I haven't ran at all, for this camp. So, and my weight's good, probably better than it has been. So, I just think staying on top of my diet, like even outside of fight camp, has really helped and benefited me.
There's been a lot of ups and downs kind of for you in the UFC so far. What do you have to do to get on a consistent run, in your opinion, and kind of string together results?
Just go out there and do what I do. I think my last loss was Park, but arguably won that fight. Just maybe be a little bit more active, a little more punch count, strike count, and whatnot, like wrestle, finish takedowns, things like that.
Eryk. I think you surprised a few people recently by saying you've only got 5 fights left and you're going to call it a career. What was the thought process behind that decision, and why 5 in particular?
Because 5 puts me at 20 UFC fights, and I think that's like a really good. Not a lot of people get that many fights in the UFC, So my kids are getting older, so it's time for me to kind of not really transition into like a father role because I'm like very active in their lives, but going away for 2 months at a time and being gone fighting and then needing surgery, and then even when I get home, I'm sitting in a cast on the couch or whatever. So, it's just time for me to like put more into them, and I'm already 36. You know what I mean? So I kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel.
It is kind of a self-imposed deadline, but does this change the way you approach fights? Do you kind of go into this like a now or never mentality?
Not really, but the belt used to mean a lot to me. Having like being in the top 15 used to matter a lot, but now I just want to put on entertaining fights and entertain the crowd, hear the cheers and things like that, and yeah.
Last one for me. I mean, you mentioned Canada not being, a hostile territory, really. You've got some experience up here. You played with the CFL's Calgary Stampeders, right?
That's right.
Any fond memories you can share?
Man, I just, not really. That's so long ago. But I really like Canada. Especially this part of Canada is very beautiful. Never been to Vancouver first time, and I'm just kind of like taken back by the water and the mountains and all the stuff that's going on around here.
Eryk, over here. How's it going?
What's going on, James? Hey, what's up, man? Where the NFL Blitz at?
We're playing after.
All right, cool.
Okay,
right.
yeah, we have it on video here, so you're accountable.
Last time.
Where did you train for this fight? Because I know you had your last couple camps at Fight Ready. If I'm not mistaken, you're not there anymore. Where did you do your training camp this time around?
I switched over to the lab.
Oh, okay, excellent.
So still in Phoenix. And,
right.
Yeah.
How has that been over there? There's some big bodies over there. Jared Cannonier. Who did you have a chance to work with this time around?
My corner, Alec Lorenz, one of my main training partners. Jared, of course, top, 4 or 5 in the middleweight division. So, Yeah, it's been good. It's been great. You know, those guys really took me in with open arms and, you know, poured a lot of time, effort, and energy into me. So I'm really appreciative for those guys.
How long has that switch been? When did you make the move over there?
Pretty much right after my last fight. You know, I kind of fell victim to some political nonsense, you know, between I didn't even have anything to do with it. You know, I'm just kind of like a casualty of.
Yeah, no, I know the story.
therapy.
I already know what happened, but yeah, that's At least you found a home at the lab. Is it the same sort of thing as last time, where you're out there, you're away from your family, you're kind of on your own, renting an apartment, kind of like Rocky style, just with nicer weather?
Yeah. Well, it's hot. You know, I don't know about nicer weather because you kind of melt every time, burn your hand on the steering wheel and the seatbelt when you get in the car. But yeah, Arizona's beautiful. I love Phoenix, and yeah, just I like the vibe of the city, and it kind of helps me get in that mode.
You're good friends with Julian Marquez. He fought Marc-Andre in his last fight. Did you speak to him at all ahead of this fight? I know you have different styles, but did you ever pick his brain about preparation?
Yeah, of course, you know, but I don't kiss and tell, so, you know, he kind of gave me some insight, and yeah, but to be honest, man, it's really kind of hard to, like, listen to somebody, not really listen, but, like, I take it with a grain of salt, because, you know, when you lose, you get TKO'd, it's embarrassing, so you don't want it to, like, admit to yourself, like, your faults, and, you know, that person was better on that night, so I kind of take it with a grain of salt.
And just last one for me. You know, you mentioned there a couple more fights left, or 5, I should say. That's actually more than a couple. You have a lot of things going on outside the cage, I know, and that's something we've talked about in our interviews. You know, how set are you sort of after this with some of the things you have established business-wise outside the UFC?
I'm good. You know, I can live comfortably right now if I want to, but man, I really love fighting. It's still a passion that burns inside me. So, you know, I kind of want to wear it out and, you know, ride off into the sunset.
Hey, Eryk, just one to your left over here. It doesn't feel like that long ago that we were talking about this dude, Eryk Anders, third fight, headlining in Brazil opposite Lyoto Machida. As we approach, you know, 5 fights is still quite a bit, but as we approach that, when you look back on your career, what kind of stands out most fondly, or what do you take away the most?
You know, I'm the kind of guy who showed up every time. Put on entertaining fights, win, lose, or draw. You know, you can't say that you don't like my fights, that you don't like to watch my fights. You know, it's pretty violent, and yeah, you know, I just want to kind of be known as that guy who showed up and showed out every time.
Eryk, right here. What happened at your old gym, or can you not really speak on it?
Yeah, like yeah, I really don't want to talk about it because, like I said, it ain't got nothing to do with me, and you know, it just, you know, it's got caught in the crossfire there.
How many of those Chef Boyardee shirts did you sell?
About 100.
Yeah? Who designed that shirt?
I mean, I picked like how I wanted it to look, and you know, somebody else like put in all the work to get it made. I just hope that Campbell or whoever makes Chef Boyardee doesn't come after me. You know.
Did you ever get your hands on Dean Thomas?
Nah, I think he's gonna be here now, but you know, I think he's here this week, so
You wrote
I see him.
You wrote on site, right?
On site. He already knows what's up. Maybe he doesn't show up. I don't know.
To your left over here. Before coming into your last fight, you talked about how at the time it was the lowest you were coming into a fight, both mentally and physically. Wondering if it gives you confidence coming into this week, assuming that you're feeling better than you did last time out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you know, you kind of find like a different motivation to get up every day and go fight. And, you know, the gym is kind of my happy place, if you will. So regardless of what's going on in my personal life and things like that, you know, you kind of forget about everything when you walk through the gym and start training and, you know, do all that other stuff, because at that moment in time, that's all that matters.
Yeah, just one more. Just wanted a prediction for the main event between Nunes and Aldana.
I think that Nunes gets it done. I think that I'd have to assume that wrestling is going to be part of her game plan. Irene Aldana's got really good, crisp boxing. That's where she's most dangerous. So, you know, I think that, you know, she wants to retain her belt. And, you know, man, Nunes has knockout power too, but I think that maybe she tries to get her tired early on and then, you know, either finishes her on the ground or, you know, gives her that work on the feet.